Hi, welcome to Astrology for Gann Traders. This is Olga Morales, and this is my next installment of my W.D.Gann series, and I'm going to be looking at planetary price. At my recent Gann Astro Trading seminar, we did quite a bit of work on this, and it's one of Gann's most amazing discoveries. It's just out of this world, I believe. Anyway, this is where it all started when I first saw the next chart. Basically, it's Gann's May soybeans, and here we have Gann plotting some planetary lines. You can see the symbol. This symbol that looks like a 4 is actually the symbol for Jupiter, and also in here has got Jupiter, the symbol of Jupiter, and 30 degrees of Sagittarius. And then we have another line coming up here, and that is a little symbol in there as well, and that symbol is for Mars. So what he's doing here on this price chart is actually plotting the planetary longitude of these planets, hoping that they will give either support or resistance or a point where price will go. But at the same time, their intersection is also showing that they're forming some sort of aspect, and this is where it gets really exciting. And for people who came to my seminar, they just saw how powerful this is. We're combining planetary longitude but also planetary aspects on the same chart. So let's have a look what was actually happening in 1948. You can see that we have Mars and Jupiter and Uranus forming at some sort of aspect, and Mars coming through. Usually Mars or a faster moving planet comes through these slower moving ones and causes a reaction. We need a trigger, and this is another thing that I teach. So the trigger is usually something that's moving up faster than the ones that are slower. But the thing is, if you want to look at it on a wheel, we can see what was happening at the time. Mars was forming a conjunction to Jupiter, but at the same time there was an opposition to Uranus, and they all come together at that opposition, and price pretty much stopped and reversed at that point. Now when we look at this on the 90-degree wheel, which I use and I teach a lot, is what cosmobiologists use. You can see, because they're on a hard aspect, those three planets come together, and basically Uranus was at the midpoint of Jupiter and Mars, so that's a midpoint structure. And at the same time you can see that it was at the midpoint of the Venus and the Sun and the Moon on this side. And people ask me about this dial, and you can see when you point up here, this gives you the midpoint trees in the center, so you can see the midpoints in there, and this is all to do with symmetry. So these points on this side exactly equal distance to one another. So it's amazing how it all works, but it's very important when we look at these planetary alignments. So let's have a look at another one of Gann's famous forecasts. It's called his ticker tape wheat forecast. One of the most astonishing calculations made by Mr. Gann was during late summer in 1909, when he predicted that September wheat would sell at $1.20. This meant that it must touch that figure before the end of the month of September. At 12 o'clock Chicago time on September 30th, that's the last day of the option, was selling below $1.08, and it looked as though his prediction would not be fulfilled. Mr. Gann said, if it does not touch $1.20 by the close of the market, it will prove that there is something wrong with my whole method of calculation. I do not care what the price is now, it must go there. It's common history that September wheat surprised the whole country by selling at $1.20, no higher in the very last hour of trading, closing at that figure. So at my seminar we actually had the data for this forecast, and we were able to do quite extensive work on it, which was very exciting for everyone there, including me. So wheat reached $1.20. Now have a look at the actual chart. You can see again Mars is in the picture. It's actually forming an opposition to Jupiter, but at the same time there was a T-square, Saturn and the Moon creating with Uranus and Neptune on the other side. So there was a lot of activity happening at that point where price formed that top. How did Gann get to $1.20? That takes a little bit more time in terms of plotting these planetary lines on your chart, but you can see how he did it. But let's have a look at it here on the 90-degree dial. You can see those 3 planets coming together, concentrating in one area of the zodiac. So that's going to form some sort of price resistance if you can know how to plot those. And at the same time, there's a lot of cardinal energy in here. And if you plot them in terms of the zodiac as absolute longitude, you'll work out what Gann was doing in using these levels as price support and resistance. Okay, now people say, you know, we look back again on what he did. Can we apply that to current markets? Of course we can. This is actually currently the S&P 500, and we've got 2 planets that are forming quite a band of resistance up here between 1260 and 1265. So they're really, it's price struggling beyond that point at the moment. And again, 2 planets here actually formed a bit of support at that point. So here we have planetary lines acting as support and resistance to price, and this is where the magic of understanding Gann and planetary price really is. So it's very exciting, and I don't think any trader should not have this knowledge. Okay, so thank you for listening, and my website is astrologyforganntraders.com.au, and I have lots of lessons and seminars, and also I'll be producing some more DVDs in 2012, and thank you for listening.